How do we minimize conflict between partners? I am using the word minimize because conflict is inevitable. You have intrapersonal conflict. We have that's conflict within yourself. You have interpersonal conflict, conflict between two persons. You have intrapersonal conflict between groups. Yes, you can experience conflict within yourself. Conflict is inevitable because we interact with each other, we have decisions to make in our life. So let alone partners, people together, two persons together from different backgrounds coming to stay together as one. So there must be conflict. I cannot say ways to eradicate conflict between partners. I can't use the word eradicate because there must be conflict. It's inevitable. I can only use the word prevent. How do we prevent? And it's not absolute prevention because when two persons interact, they are likely to be conflict. The first question I want to ask is left for you to answer. Do you say sorry to your partner when you do the wrong thing? I had gone to volunteer for an NGO, and the NGO was focused on the couple and that particular event. So there were a lot of games played by the couples. But one of the games that captured my attention was the game called Truth, Truth and Lies. The game is all about asking questions. All the panelist is looking for is yes or no in that particular game. They ask you a question, or you can answer yes or no. For example, like I ask you, do you say sorry to your partner when you do the wrong thing? You don't have to start thinking or trying to make an argument or trying to give an explanation. The question is, the answer is yes or no. Yes, no. Now, the reason why I am particular about this particular question is because I observed in that particular game played, out of the 6 partners who played the game, only 2 partners answered yes. That they say verbally say sorry. Meaning, while I was observing the situation, I understood that there are a lot of non-verbal clues people are using saying what sorry. But a lot of people, a lot of partners want their apology to be verbalized, and it has to come from within it. There has to be genuine apology. Meanwhile, some people give their own apology non-verbally. So when it comes to relationship partners, there are no rules. Um, there are no rules from anywhere. You have to discover what is nice for you and what is not nice for you. You have to discover it. So when only 2 persons answered yes to the question, so a lot of people were saying we have so they were kind of okay. Why did you say after the game was ended? They started asking, why did you say yes? Why did you say no? I was observing them, and some of them were saying, I don't know how to verbalize it, but there are the verbal clues I can use to say, okay, I'm sorry. So you have to discover that. So I can't really say why certain people don't verbalize their apology, but it's left for you to discover that. That's another way to minimize conflict. When the other person is not verbalizing an apology, are they showing it in their behavior? Are you saying any non-verbal clue to lead, hold on? Another way to minimize conflict between partners is also never to force a partner Whose ways of expressing anger is to be silent, to speak in an intense situation. Everybody express their anger differently. Some people, they want to be calm, and you don't force a wood method of expressing anger to be calm at that moment when it's tense, to speak. One other way to minimize conflict between partners, learn to balance your life. For example, you don't have to wait till the Valentine, the Christmas, or any other festive holidays to remember there were part of your life that was what neglected. No matter how hard you work, you have to create time for your family, your health. You create time for your leisure, for exercise. You have to create time for time is being created. You can't say I work. You have to create a time. So you have to learn to balance your life. I want to recommend a movie to watch, but I watched the movie in French. The name of the movie in French is called Aller Retourne dans la journée. Literally, the title in English means come back. How will I use it? Come back to the daylight. Go and come back to the daylight. Like literally, this is the meaning. Aller Retourne dans la journée. It was all about a man who the life wasn't all about work, and part of his family life was neglected. So if you just watch it, you discover what I'm saying. But I don't know if you can find a substitute in English. But you can try to maybe discover that yourself. The movie is a great movie. Another way to minimize conflict is you must learn to communicate. You don't try to copy what worked for another family. Learn to discover what worked for you personally. You don't copy any other person. This worked for them, and you don't compare. Learn to discover what worked for you through communication. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. Speaking with respect, trying to express what you want and what this person wants. You must have financial literacy. This is another way to minimize conflict. You have to learn to discover who manages the finance better. You don't have to look at your account balance thinking you have money. No. I listened to one of the speakers at one time. He said, as a man that has family, children, and you think you have money in your account, no. Until you've channeled all the money to where it belongs first before knowing your remaining balance. Food, bills, school fees, house maintenance, maybe a mortgage, and savings. Then before you know your remaining balance, food, charity, etc. You know what you use your money for. So you must have financial literacy. Nowhere, there is no standard law written anywhere. This is how to spend your money, or this is who manages better in another place. You have to discover yourself. Another way to minimize conflict is you have to remember love is not the only virtue that sustains a relationship. Yeah, it could trigger two people falling in love. You have to possess or nurture other virtues that will keep relationship going. Yes, you can be full of love, but after love, what next? You love, there's no money to eat at home. So you have to nurture other virtues. Love is a virtue, then you have to nurture other virtues. Financial literacy, respect for each other, trying to make others realize their own vision, trying to align your own vision and other person's vision together to achieve a common purpose, trying to support the other person to achieve their own purpose also in life while you work together. So there are other virtues you have to discover. You don't have to rely on or try to copy any other person. Learn to discover what works for you. You have to discover your own rules, what work for you. It's working for this person doesn't mean it's to work for you the same way. The truth is that you will always see people more richer, more handsome, more prettier than your partner. At that moment, you've realized that you've chosen to stay with someone who you can tolerate their imperfections and their flaws. So the ways to minimize conflict, they are endless. So you have to learn to discover. I always talk about mediation, resolving conflict, but another thing also, you have to also learn how to prevent and also how to minimize. That's conflict prevention, conflict management. You have to learn also to know what triggered conflicts between two people. How can we minimize it? How can we prevent it sometimes? So you have to learn it and learn to discover that yourself. No, there is no specific rule written anywhere. When two persons decide to become partners, just remember there will be conflict. So you have to learn to minimize it and also to compromise, and also peradventure by the time the conflict escalates, use mediation to be able to resolve those conflicts. Mediation helps you to sit together before a neutral third party and speak to each other and know why the other person is being angered. Mediation helps you to express yourself. It gives you room to speak so the other person can be heard. Why you did this. So there's a few lists I have for you to minimize conflict. Thank you.